Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast with your host, Tracy Hayes. Best of the best is what I bring you each and every week. Today, I have one of the Jacksonville Business Journal's top 100 real estates in 2020. Was it 2021?
2021.
2021, that's what year we're in. We skipped 2020, that year just didn't exist. She has capped every year since her rookie year as an agent. We're going to learn about that. She's on the leadership board at her market center of the Keller Williams Atlantic Partners, which are a huge influence in Northeast Florida. She was recognized as Realtor of the Year in 2020. That's what the 2020 came in at. This agent has much more ahead, and the sky is the limit. I want to welcome Kelly Bello to the show. Kelly.
Hi, thank you.
No problem, thank you. I'm so glad to get you on. You know, I follow you on the Facebook, and really enjoy your the content you put out there. I know you try to make yourself seem real. That's the telling you. I know a lot of times you're traveling in your car or taking your kids somewhere or talking about your boys, and you're posting them always on Facebook, and that is one of the things I've talked about on the show before, but listening to as a podcast junkie I've become is people want to know you're real. And that's what you're doing, and I can appreciate that. Is people they want to get to know you, they want to see your face, they want to see you not only dressed up real nice today, but I know sometimes you're coming from a workout or whatever in your car, and you're giving them that view too. So they know you're real, and just like them. So I want to kick off the show as I always do, is to get a little bit to know about you. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to high school?
So I went to Kenny, Bishop Kenny here in Jacksonville. Yeah, I actually was born in Miami, and then a little bit after Hurricane Andrew, we decided to relocate to Northeast Florida. So, and it's so funny, I joke about it all the time, because when we moved here, St. Johns County was literally farmland. Like, there was nothing.
Right.
And so I just remember going to Mom and Dad and going, Mom, like, you're moving us to farm country. Like, what is going on? Coming from Miami, but but it's just super cool. I love Jacksonville. It's been great living here.
I was looking, I don't know if it was on LinkedIn or, no, I know where it was. You filled out my little pre-show online profile thing, and you gave yourself a title of Realtor Mom.
That's it.
Tell me about it. You have two young boys.
I do. I have one that's about to be 2, and one that is about to be 4 in January. So handful, and so much fun. Just they're seeing them grow up. They're just so close in age that they're like best friends. It's the best.
Cool.
It's the best.
And that 2 boys. Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah, you're gonna wreck some furniture. But but how do you? Just since we're kind of on that, the Realtor Mom thing, because obviously you're here today and telling people about your story, and you're out showing houses sometimes at crazy time. What kind of support you have? Because obviously 2 to 4, someone's watching. You have a lot of family still close.
Yeah, so tons of family. The boys are, they go to school, so they're in school, and it was probably one of the best decisions, because I was literally working from home with an 18-month-old and taking him to closings and listing appointments, and I was this can't,
Right.
So it was the best decision to put him in school, and then I've got family that lives close by, so it's super, it's amazing, and it's a lot, and I think any parent that that is working, or not even stay-at-home moms, gosh, I admire them, because that is a full-time times 2. But it is challenging, and you learn to value your time with them a little bit more when you can shut it down and read the books and rock and So
right. Now that is so true. I mean, sometimes you can be with them so much that you get to the point where you actually are, but you're away from them during the day or your schedule or whatever, and then you're seeing them again in the afternoon, and then you refresh yourself with that bond. Oh yes, and let's spend some time together. Let's go read a book tonight and shut the phone off, or emails or whatever. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you went to Bishop Kenny. Yeah. Did you bother to go to college? Or
I did. I did my 2-year. I was working at Bank of America at the time, and it just kind of escalated very quickly. I kind of worked up the ladder very quickly, and then ended up becoming like a manager in the banking center, and then kind of realized that I wanted to change my path a little bit.
Right.
Jumped into the mortgage loan origination piece, and and that's kind of where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you saved yourself a lot of money, or your parents, or whomever.
Yeah.
Skip the long-term college degree, and actually were already getting experience in it. Now, what did someone just say? Hey, Kelly, I think you'd be a great loan officer, or is that something you're like, hey, I'm going to go check that out?
To be honest, it was kind of brought to my attention. Like, I think you should give this a shot. And and it's funny, over with Bank of America, they didn't really take on people without experience. So they opened up a new role. It was a retail role where I would work in the banking center. So I knew a lot of the customers already from just being in the banking center. And then jumped into this position that they thought that would be great for me. And I did love it. I loved it, but I missed the interaction with people. And I realized how much I loved real estate, and there was just so many moving parts. But I was like, I think I need to jump to the other side of real estate and actually work with the people and show them the houses and do the contract and all that. And that's kind of where it happened.
Because as a loan officer, you just felt I'm just taking the application and I'm sending it off the process and underwriting, and really more or less you were done at that point.
Right.
Of really, other than, drilling people's teeth for their information.
Yes, exactly.
Getting to know about their life and so forth. So you're at Bank of America. You're thinking of the other side. I mean, did you know someone that was a realtor, or how did you actually get the taste?
Felix Castillo. I don't know if you know who he is. He is an amazing rep over with Lennar. I've known him. We've known each other for a long time. When I was going to school, I worked at Longhorn Steakhouse for about 5 years. So him and I connected, and he left one day. He was a manager at Longhorn, and he left one day and got his real estate license and jumped over to real estate. So he started at Lennar, and he's still there. And he called me one day and said, Kelly, I think you'd be really great. Come on over. Go get your real estate license. Try it. And he was the one that kind of put it into my head that I should do this. And everybody thought it was crazy. I mean, why would you leave? You've been with Bank of America for 8 years. You have steady income, all of these
health insurance
benefits. Also, what are you doing? And so there was just something inside that just pushed me. I can't explain it to the day, but
well, it's interesting because you mentioned in this, and an article, Coffee and Contracts. Right?
Yes,
Coffee and Contracts. Did this nice little interview with Kelly, and I was picking through it. And one of the things you put on here, when I tell you that everyone thought I was crazy for doing it, I mean it. I had the support of my parents and sisters. They have always been my biggest fans, but I'm sure everyone had doubts. Do you think that was personally had doubts in you, or is it generally what most people run into? And this is from these books, this question here, the personal development books, that people generally fairly close to us don't want us to reach out and, in your case, like, take that risk. Now, you're a fairly young person, so what was the risk? I'm sure Bank of America probably would have hired you back. Was there a real risk there? But did you find that at that time, you said people doubted this, your success there, and knowing where you're at now and look back, but we often run into our biggest naysayers sometimes are often family members, or, I don't want to say family members, friends, just people who are close to us. Would you agree? Did you experience some of that maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously my parents and my family, everybody was supportive of me making it, but I think it is such a change in your life. I mean, I'm going to be very honest. I mean, I took money out of my 401k, and that's what I had to live off of.
Right.
I mean, you don't get to walk into real estate and you expect a paycheck in 30 days. So I think that was just their biggest concern was, okay, this is what you're living off of. You can do this. And so, and you do, you go in, and there were moments that I was like, oh man, I don't know if this is for me. But
of course, when you have doubt, that does bring other people go, okay, well, she's doubting herself, so let me doubt her too.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. But I think, especially with family in those moments of doubt, they were pushing me harder. Like, don't give up,
right,
and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Too many times, I think, in life, and again, is not only personally people that I know. You read the stories in there where some of the closest people, whether it's they love you, but then yes, you're going to go through a little bit of struggle. You went in your 401k and your savings, but reality, everyone, is Bank of America is only going to pay you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that's all you think Kelly is worth, unfortunately, she had a different idea.
Yeah.
You envision yourself making a lot more money than what you were making at Bank of America.
Yeah, and it's so funny because it's not about the money. You get your passion is just driving you.
Yep.
And it's funny because it's just not the front of my mind. That's not where it is. It's an exciting opportunity. It's how do we work this out? It's always there's so many moving parts. So it's just been so amazing, and it's just.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing, though, I mean, and the kudos to your parents. I mean, they were there and they were behind you. Your sister was behind you. She's an agent as well.
So she was a real estate agent, and then she actually is now a MAPS coach with Keller Williams. So she coaches some of the top agents across the United States, and she's incredible.
Oh, then I need to have her on the show.
You need to have her on the show.
Yeah.
She's like been amazing to me as well, helping me through this journey. So.
Oh, that's so awesome. Now, was she in real estate before you, or?
Well, I got my real estate license first, and then of course she thinks I'm cool, so she wanted to follow along. No, but she was.
This is a younger sister.
She's older.
She's older. She thinks your younger sister's cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And if she's gonna listen to this and laugh at me, because I'm always like, you are 3 years older than me, okay? But no, but she was amazing. She was in the banking industry as well, and she left the banking industry and did the same exact thing, got her real estate license. And she worked for the Edge Group. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Edge Group with Keller Williams.
Yeah.
Jamie and team and Carrie Hustis, they're amazing. But
I've seen them. That's the Edge Group. Okay.
Yep. And so she worked with them for quite some time. She was one of their top agents, and then she actually just saw the coaching aspect and ran with it. So she's amazing.
Yeah. No, and that's to go into the coaching field, because I've been to some seminars and stuff like that. Some of those people, that. You want to talk about, it's one thing being a real estate agent, like I know I got to go sell a house and that's how I get paid. You got to actually go out and convince people that you can coach them to sell more houses.
Oh yeah.
That's to me another level of things there. So you've come, if you want to come, I think probably in your mind, you've come a long way, and from the day you got your license to today. What are you doing? Obviously, then maybe getting some coaching from your sister. What do you do to stay on top? Are you a podcast listener? Do you read books? What do you do to keep sharp?
So even my sister being the most amazing coach, she is not my direct coach. I actually have a coach.
That's better.
Yeah, because the accountability is a little bit different. So I do have a coach, Christina Benegas. She is amazing with MAPS coaching, and so I work directly with her. I do listen to some podcasts. There are some amazing leadership podcasts out there. Yeah. But to be honest, she pushes me and we connect. I rely on her tremendously, and so she keeps me motivated. And so
so at what level were you that you felt you needed to reach out and actually get the coach officially?
Yeah.
But you kind of had the unofficial coach.
Yeah. So
and how does it brought you to another level?
So my business just was growing,
right.
And it was growing faster than I even knew. Like it was becoming something bigger than I ever even imagined that it would ever be. And so I started thinking, and I'm thinking, well, how do I do this? I'm a mom. My boys are the most important thing to me. My business and my customers are so important to me. How do I balance this? So I did decide that MAPS coaching was the best route. My sister was like, it's time.
Yeah.
I can only do so much for you. You got to go.
Yeah.
And so she connected me with a great coach. And that coach, Amy McLeod, she was my very first coach. She left. Unfortunately, her business was growing bigger than her, so she left MAPS coaching, but she did connect me with her coach, which was Christina. And so Christina just said to me, who do you want to be in 5 years? Nobody's ever asked me that question. I was like, I don't even know who I want to be tomorrow. Like this is like taking over. I'm running on E. Like I'm going as fast as I can. And so it was just, she said, you've got to figure out what you want your life to look like. And, you know, when you're in real estate, it's nonstop. And especially for me, because I love my customers and I have such a great relationship with them,
right.
It becomes, you know, the 8 o'clock calls, the 9 o'clock calls, and, you know, and I love that. But I also had to say, you know, this is my time with my boys, and I've got to be able to sit down, and after they go to bed, then I can do what I need to do.
Right.
And so it was really Christina that came up with, this is what we're going to have to do then. If this is important to you, we're going to have to leverage it. So I actually just met an amazing person. Her name is Emily, and she is my new executive assistant. She starts this Wednesday.
Excellent.
And I'm so excited.
Yes, that is so excellent.
So excited.
For those who listened to the last podcast with the great Melissa Ricks, and she was explaining her team and the stuff that I'm listening to with the mortgage market animals and the Freedom Club from the loan officer side, is you have to hire that person that can do that more or less. You know, there's some people that want to get out, like you and I, we get out, and I get out and meet real estate agents, you get out and meet clients, right? Some people they don't want that to be that front piece. They're good supporting roles, and that's what they want to do, and they're very good at, better than we are. And to hire that person, and always the first one's, you know, the hardest here is you're excited about it, just to take a lot of that daily work off of you so you can be more of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you can spend more time with your clients, as Melissa was explaining in the last podcast. I mean, you know, she doesn't let other people show homes because she feels that's the time she bonds with those people.
Yeah.
And would you agree? I my vision or idea of what Melissa sees, she has a long-term vision. When you're just out there, I'll just give it to a showing assistant. I'll just, you know, I'm not gonna spend. I'll just, okay, got the listing. Yeah, go see this house. But you're not playing a long-term game. It's each and every client, and then over the years, how many do they refer you? Are you doing a second or third home with them? Maybe, you know, because there are a lot of people here in Northeast Florida, they move within communities here very often.
All the time.
Yeah. And that type of thing. And it's a long-term play. Is that kind of what you see her relieving you up, and so you can spend some more time really face-to-face with your peeps?
That's exactly it. And I think if anyone knows me, they would know it's the hardest thing for me, and they can call it let it go, Kelly. I mean, like, literally, that's what people say to me all the time, let it go, because I do want to be a part of it so much, but what I love the most is my customers and engaging and hearing about their life. And, you know, I'm doing the second home because their family's growing, or, you know, moving, you know, because their job opportunity has taken them
or
somewhere
their sisters
else.
Moving into town and they're referring you,
or their sisters moving into town and they're referring me. And you know, every single one of my customers has been somebody I've either worked with or somebody that knows me. And so it's been great. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you have to determine like what you're best at, and that's what I love about Keller Williams. And it is they give you this platform, and it's like it works. You know, look at some of the top agents in our office that, you know, you have to follow the process, and that's where I'm at. And that's where Christina brought me to, like, it's time, let it go. You know,
Yeah, you have to. It's the only way you can move to that next level, because you only personally have so much time in the day, and you want to spend time with your boys. So you have to make that time available, and the only way is to leverage someone else in a positive way. Everyone thinks leverage is a bad word.
Oh,
that's you're giving someone employment, a good job, and probably maybe they inspire, maybe they just love supporting you, and they're with you and affect your life as you affect theirs, and the growth between the two of you. And hopefully you have 2 or 3 assistants here, in the coming year, because that's really what it's all about. So you mentioned in the article, so you had this opportunity, or you were with Keller Williams, and then your friend at the we won't mention the builder, but
sorry,
the builder asked you to become a site agent, and you thought about that. And I think a lot of new agents, if they don't know anybody, being a site agent might be a great place to start.
Yeah.
There's other people who obviously are senior site agents because they love what they do, because that's obviously important. If you're sitting in a model all weekend long, you better love what you do.
Right.
From that standpoint. But Keller Williams reached out and grabbed you. Who was this? I guess I don't know how you described it. This leader that they said, no, Kelly, you two need to match up and I guess mentor you.
Yeah.
Who is this?
So Pete Sherrill, which I don't know if you know Margaret Sherrill, she's our broker at Keller Williams Atlantic Partners, and so she, her husband Pete is our market leader, and he's amazing. I interviewed with so many brokers, and when I met him, I just knew. I was like,
right.
This is it. This is where I'm gonna land, and I've been with him ever since. But he heard I was getting a little discouraged, and that I had decided that I was going to accept this position.
Right.
I think it was like a Wednesday or Thursday, and so I prayed about it, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and I accepted the position, and he pulled me into the office. He said, we don't want to lose you. Like, we see something inside of you, and please, like, just let me introduce you to this agent who is kind of overloaded right now with work, and he's needing help. Why don't you connect with him and see what you can do to help as a buyer's agent? And so I did, and I met with him on a Friday. And I remember just going home and literally just before going to bed, just praying so hard about it. God, give me this direction, because I didn't know. I was like, I've got two amazing opportunities in front of me, and I don't know what to do. And I just woke up the next day, and I respectfully, walked in and declined the position with the builder and said, let's do this, and stayed with Keller Williams. And it was honestly the best decision. I have chills thinking about it, because it's just like, life would have gone a different route, and it may have been amazing too.
Right.
Who knows?
Well, that's the thing. That was leading me to the quick, because I'm a John Maxwell fan. And hopefully he gets back to doing his regular thing at the Marriott in Orlando. He does a couple years ago. I went over there with Angie Bell. Just ironically, Angie and I had signed up for the same seminar. It was like 4 days long. But John Maxwell's amazing. But he talks about God has a path for you. He has a path, and obviously he brought you to a impasse of, oh my goodness, let's wake Kelly up. What is she going to do? So you reached out over here to the builder, and then this person, you just mentioned, I'm sorry.
Pete Sherrill.
Pete Sherrill.
Yeah.
Pete, hold on a second, and then he reaches out and grabs you. And that made all the difference.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of a sudden you start talking to Pete, like, yeah, I guess maybe I should stay. Yeah. The fact that you connected. And to me, I just feel, like you said, you're obviously a woman of faith. He was giving you direction there. He just had to shake you a little bit and kind of put you, I wouldn't say put you down, but to bring you to what you felt was a bottom where you were like getting discouraged.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden these people rose up in front of you, and you actually had two doors to choose from. And we don't know where the second door would have taken you, and hopefully never will, because you'll be on the path you're on right now so successful.
Yeah.
It is amazing. And if people look back in their life and remember the times that they were down, and these opportunities that popped up in front of you, or popped into your head, you're like, where did that come from? And you follow it. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. And actually, that was a big section of what. So where do you see yourself? I mean, you got your first assistant coming on. I mean, do you see, Keller Williams has a lot of teams. I mean, do you see that, or do you see yourself maybe just being Kelly and having a couple assistants and rock and roll? I mean, do you want to mentor other agents? Do you have interest in that? Or?
I do, and I would love that. I see, obviously, it's hard to see what's going to happen in 5 years, but ultimately, my goal would be to have some agents working with me, helping them through it. I think a lot of people, when they start in real estate, they forget that it's so independent. You're independent. You're doing your own thing, and so when you join a team, sometimes it gives you that leverage, that shoulder to lean on. And I loved that. That worked for me. And so I hope to bring that to some new agents and bring them on the team.
You mentioned something earlier, and it was interesting. My wife and I were talking about it last night on the way back from the Jaguars game, because we were stopped at a restaurant and there was no service there. Or limited service. We could tell there was people waiting outside, but half the restaurant was empty. You served at Longhorns, I think you said earlier. I've had other agents on mentioning their time in the restaurant area in service.
Yeah.
Has that benefit? Have you seen what you learned there about people helping you
Oh yeah.
On a day.
Oh yeah. I mean, you just learn. It's customer service, you know,
right.
to its best. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to dig in here deeper into your article. You sold your first $1 million home.
I did.
What is more difficult, the $200,000 home or the $1 million home?
Oh my gosh. Goodness. It was a breeze. I worked with amazing people. They were amazing, but yeah, sometimes the yeah.
She doesn't want to be explicit. I can tell you right now. There's sometimes, yeah. Well, although I have had some, higher end clients, generally they get their money from different places. So on the lending side, it can be a slightly more difficult. But I always remember a story. There was people who were buying like a $1.2 million home. I won't mention the neighborhood, but it was an existing home, and they had the home inspection, and between the leaks and the squirrel, rats, whatever was up in the attic. Oh yeah, and then the rooftop. Because the thing, when a roof's damaged on $1 million home, when it's tile, that's a lot of money.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, easy to fix. So sometimes you run into these issues. When you're, I'm sure you've been doing this long enough. You've had these situations. What is the attitude that you take with your clients? And really, this is so if there's a buyer or lister out there, when you run into these issues, because you're trying to keep the deal together.
Yeah.
How do you approach that situation when you have an inspection and the roof's not, got a leak in it or possible leak, or how do you handle it?
So, I'm the most optimistic person when it comes to repairs. First, I do, and that's why it is so important when we're showing homes initially, because I can kind of look around and give my best opinion from the get-go. Right. So I'm gonna tell y'all this is gonna need some work, or you guys, this looks like it's in good shape. And then, when the inspections come, I mean, it is overwhelming for a buyer. I mean, it's sometimes 30, 50, 75 pages of just, this is all about your house. But there are times where I will guide a customer and say, this may be way above what I think would work for you guys. But then there's times where it's, this is doable.
Right.
Let's get some really good people, and I have some really great contractors that I work with that I trust. And that's huge in this business, is knowing who you trust, and that will go out and assess it and say, hey, this is my best opinion. So
when you're, because you're doing buying and listing today, it's just you. You don't have a team. It's you doing too. When you're going out, obviously right now in this marketplace, a lot of listing people don't think they need agents, right? What is your approach, your presentation? Because I imagine you have every presentation is a little bit different because you're tailoring it to the client, their home, whatever. Because the sellers do have different goals. Sometimes it's not just we want to sell the home, that's the bottom line, but I want to make best dollar. I need to sell it in 30 days, whatever those things. What are some initial things when you go in there for that initial consultation that you are going to get to know? Because we talked about building a relationship with the agent. I mean, with the buyer, or in this case, the seller. Where I think a lot of agents just go in and think that they just want to sell their home. Okay, well here it is. What do you go in there to make them bond to Kelly?
Well, I think it's a level of trust, and it's explaining that there are so many moving pieces, and that there are specialists for a reason. So there's dentists and attorneys and builders, and they're specialists for a reason. And I think that's what we do as real estate agents, is we take our best ability, our education, our knowledge, our experience, and we apply it, because you're, like you said, every single customer is different. Everyone is tailored. So whether you're building a new construction home with a builder or an independent builder or a large corporate builder, or you're selling your home, I mean, you need somebody on your side that is going to make sure that you're taken care of at the end of the day.
I think a lot of the for sale by owners, they don't, especially in this market where you're getting multiple offers, or just 3 or 4 months ago, some people were getting like 20 some offers on the same house. How do you deal with that? And they skip or don't understand the value of having someone like yourself evaluating each and every one of those offers to be able to basically hopefully come up with 3 or 4 that you're going to recommend, one of these is going to be your best offer, which, and here's why.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in this market especially, it's crazy. And, I just had a house that went on the market with 21 offers. And it was, how do you as a seller know that you're choosing the right lender, you're choosing the right buyer, the right product for your home?
Right.
Your house is 1920, do you really want to select a VA buyer if there's wood rot that you're going to have to, so there's just so many steps and things that an agent would be able to say, this is the best route.
I've done this a few times.
Yeah. This is what you should do.
There's no doubt, I'm from the lending side, you just mentioned the VA, which I think is the best loan possible, but the VA is very sensitive to water damage. And if they see some sort of water damage, they're going to want it fixed because especially if a VA buyer is going 100%, they're already upside down in that house. It's like buying a car without putting any money down.
Right.
So it's very important to weed through each of those things. I put this question on, I kind of want to reword this a little bit because explain to us, if you could, what the value, because I assume you saw, if you went back in time whether to go with, Bank of America or become a real estate agent, if you had that impasse and never took the Bank of America route, how was taking that Bank of America route and learning some of that stuff as a very young person? Because it sounds like you were probably in your young 20s when you took the job with Bank of America, if not younger.
Oh, thanks.
And how that experience really gave you the experience of working with people, understanding loans, maturity-wise, and then just how life happens. How did that help you to today?
My gosh, I mean, tremendously. I think that was one of the things that helped me the most was having that background of the loan origination portion of it, because then I was able to guide my customers through each program. Now,
Right.
starting out and learning them was so challenging as a loan officer. It was like, what is that?
Right.
But you learn and you grow. And had I not had that experience, I don't think that I would have been as equipped to be that ready to go, jump and go,
Right.
For my buyers.
Right.
And
coaching, I find, I have some referral agents who are very strong and control their clients. I have some who can't seem to get quite too much control of them. And then, of course, they always tell me later, Tracy, I wish they went with you. They ran into these issues and so forth. Because I've been lending for 16 years, and so I have a lot of at bats. You have enough at bats to smell what is good, what is bad, or what may need some tweaking to get done. So when the loan officer calls you back and says, "Hey, your client, here's some situation," because I got to tell you what's going on, because I don't want you disappointed in me. I'm sure the loan officer you work with regularly is telling you what's going on because you understand the terminology, you understand how that works, and you're able to then also help back up the loan officer and talking to your client.
Yeah.
And hopefully make the transaction a little smoother.
Yeah. It's about being, at the end of the day, being successful for your customers. So, as a buyer, there's out-of-pocket expense when you go into buying a house. And so knowing what you're about to face and if you're prepared for that next step without wasting money, up front, that is important. Some buyers, first-time home buyers, they're saving every penny for this purchase. Yes. So every appraisal cost and every inspection is money that they've been saving for a very long time. And so I'm very cautious of that. So those upfront steps are super important.
Trust me, we've done enough deals where we literally had to wait for the pay stub to post to make sure they had enough funds in their bank account to close.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It happens. It's out there. God bless them that they're taking the leap into home ownership.
Yes.
You weren't here. You were in the lending business though during the downturn there. So you know how it can get thin. Knowing that knowledge, of course, now you're on the realtor side. What do you do to prepare yourself, as I think all real estate agents should do, but many don't, unfortunately, in case we do something happens in the market downturns like 2008.
Know your market and be prepared for it. So it's knowing short sale processes and foreclosures and being comfortable having those conversations setting aside, what you need, and in the event something does change in our market, to be ready for what could happen.
How important, and this is because you just mentioned that and made me think of this question, because a couple podcasts ago I had one of the best trainers in Florida on. How important, because here it may seem, well, market, you can find buyers out there right now. It's trying to find a home to put them in. That's probably the bigger challenge. But taking the time each and every week to sharpen your sword, to get trained. Like you just mentioned foreclosure. Some people have mentioned foreclosures because of COVID, and people that has not come to fruition. Not in this area as it come to fruition. Because no one's going to foreclose because they can sell their house in most cases, for some equity.
Right.
So if they were in a desperate situation, they just sell it and walk away from it. They don't have to foreclose and go through that whole process, nor does the bank want them to go through it. But how important do you think it is to continuing to be educated in sharpening your swords, or having your ammunition for that day?
I mean, it's super important, because you'll be able to transition quicker, and you'll be able to help quicker, and you will be that expert that people will need. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you doing differently? Like, I don't know, it's been going on maybe 6 months or so since it was, through the summer, where we were, you had 21 offers on your home recently. What are you doing differently now that, say, you weren't doing in 2019?
I think for me, being able to come up with processes just to move fast for my customers. Mm-hmm. I'm doing that. I'm working more on the foundation of the business, and in regards to processes and connecting and leveraging, because that's super, super important. And, having that foundation for them, setting the right expectations is huge. So that's where my mind has been, especially with multiple offers. I mean, if you're working with a seller, you got to move fast. You don't want to lose a buyer. So it's getting the spreadsheets ready, having the conversation, setting the right expectations up front and on the back end. So
right, because it is happening quickly.
So fast.
When you're putting the house out there, and over the weekend you're getting 21 offers.
Yeah.
It does not take time. That's why, unfortunately, buyers don't understand it's happening that fast all the time. Because I still get calls from agents. We're going to make an offer. Can you do a pre-qual real quick? Well, why didn't you do that 3 days ago when you set the appointment to go out? Because you need to have your gun loaded, so to speak, from that standpoint. So what are you doing? Because we talked about relationships, and you're focused as you're getting an assistant so you can spend some more time. What are you doing to keep your circle, your past clients? What do you do to keep that warm?
So I try to connect with them as much as possible, and like you said, I am very real on social media, and so a lot of people connect with that, and it's true. I mean, I'll show up to showings with my kids, and I'll be like, "Sorry, you guys," and they get it. These are like I said, these are people that know me and trust me and know my story. And
it's your smile. Your smile.
Smile.
They can't turn that down, right?
So I just connect with them. I try to do a lot of I do a customer appreciation event we just had, like I told you about it today. It was amazing. And so I just try to just keep in touch with them. Mm-hmm. And
so let's touch on that, because that's although you had a difficulty with the weather, we talked about that, and you had to go from outdoors to indoors.
Yes.
But you did something fairly simple, right? You were having Christmas pictures or family pictures done. You set up a place for them to go with a professional photographer. We don't have to get into the dollars, but you spent your dollars that you earned on your past clients to come and bring their family to take their family photos, which many of them, I guarantee you, would not have done that on their own. Hired their own person to do their own shoot and do a nice Christmas card and have a memory that goes in their scrapbook forever.
It's so important to me. I think for me, pictures just are timeless, and especially with kids, things happen so fast. Like, I'm like, what? How are we celebrating Christmas already? What is going on? But it's just, it's a capture, it's a moment, it's something that, and it's become a tradition. So I've been doing this 4 years. It's the cutest thing to hear my customers talk about it, and how they're, hey Kelly, we look forward to it each year. Yeah. What are you gonna do this year? And
that
this
is
year,
cool. When you reach that level, that's cool.
Super cool. It's the best feeling in the world. And last year, because of COVID, Santa was not as attainable, and so nobody could sit on Santa's lap. I remember doing Santa pictures with my kids.
I could do it for the right amount.
Yeah.
Right?
But I just remember our Christmas pictures last year was Santa like way in the back with a mask on, I think, and like we were far away. My kids didn't even get that interaction, so I was like, this year we're gonna do it super cool. We're bringing Santa. We actually flew him down from New Jersey. He was the most amazing Santa I've ever met in my entire life.
I would hope so.
Oh, he was amazing. He sent me the coolest screenshot when he got to Florida. It was like Florida Santa. It was the coolest
that's
thing.
Cool.
But he's amazing, and it was so cool. It was just so cool to see my customers on a personal level,
right.
To just see their kids and see how much they've grown.
A couple years older.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know I could talk about it all day long, but it is just so cool.
Well, I see it a lot with my fellow loan officers, and I'm sure they go, oh well, how much would that cost? And the reality is, okay, we make good money for every loan, for every home that you sell. If you think about it, the dollars per hour. Now, obviously, sometimes we don't, but
right.
For the most part, we make pretty good money when we're working out there. To go and invest, because that's what you're doing, to continue that relationship. Now, you're probably still going to send them a Christmas card, but to me, that goes beyond the Christmas card, because face-to-face is the number one way to build those relationships.
Great.
Too many of us have, we try to use the Facebook to use our face, which is good. It reminds people we're out there. But the fact that you got these people to sign, and they're calling you, asking you when you're going to do it, that is so awesome.
It's so cool.
And you got a chance to spend a couple of minutes with them,
yep.
Maybe get some cocoa or whatever going on, and have them come in, and that's worth a lot.
It was.
It's
so special.
I hope you get a tremendous return from those people, because that is above and beyond. It wasn't rocket science.
No,
you did not have to. Yeah.
And I have the best team. I have Ariel Baldwin Photography. She's my main photographer.
Mm-hmm.
She does all of my marketing and marketing pictures and everything. But
yep.
She does this with me every year. And Desiree with Parsley Manor, and we just team up. And it was super stressful. And I think they probably need a break from me right now. They're probably like, we need a break from Kelly, because it was just so crazy.
Right.
But it was they pulled it off. It was amazing. I can't be more thankful for them. Yeah.
So. Obviously I cater the show towards the agents and hopefully some loan officers are watching. But the number one thing, I went to a seminar recently in Clearwater, so some of my listeners know I've talked about it before. And they talked about, just like I was saying, the number one way the fourth way of communication right now is actually email, text message, phone call, and then the face-to-face. And you went face-to-face with your customers, which is tremendous. It's not easy to do that. They've got things going on, sports and this all thing, but you make an attractive, value-added, small investment out of you, but hopefully, even if you just got one referral next year from someone who had their picture taken that just thinks you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, there's all those other people who are calling you up and asking you when you're doing it for 2022,
yeah.
Right?
And it's so funny, and maybe this is terrible, and don't tell Keller Williams, or anyway, there is not one piece of Kelly Bello real estate anywhere in that place. When they walk through that door, it is truly an event of just being thankful, and I'm so happy to see you. Like, it is not about that for me. It is truly a thank you. Let's start the holidays off right. I hope that you have an amazing experience with my amazing photographer and event planner, and have a glass of wine, and let's catch up, and it was just super special.
The only thing I was just thinking, to that whole process, do you have someone there that actually can make the Christmas cards for them and get their mailing list out?
No, but that would be super cool.
Yeah.
This year was so cool. We did a Santa writing station, so all the kids got to sit down and write their dear Santas,
right.
And how they were just seeing Santa. It was like, one of my customers said, my son hasn't stopped staring at Santa since the whole time he's been here. It was just super cool.
It is amazing. Cool. I'll tell you a little quick Santa story as we wrap up. So we typically go to my wife's uncle's. He has a house on the lake up in Milledgeville, Georgia. Sparta, Georgia is technically where it's at because it's on the other side of the lake. But anyway, so all the young, there's 6 of them. My kids, my sister-in-law's kids, and my wife's cousins' kids are all. I have the youngest and the oldest, so they're all from 8 to 11 years old. And this is actually a year ago, so they were 7 to 10 years old. And they're in their bunk room, and I come around out. There's a deck outside because it's on the second floor, but there's a deck you can access it from. So I go out there and like pound up and down, boom, 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 ho, ho, ho. They were talking about it the next morning.
Oh my gosh.
Don't think they don't believe. They believe in it. If you do not spoil that for them.
No.
It was fun. I mean,
it's amazing. It is. Even as an adult. Okay, yes, Santa just. Okay, we're not going to say that.
You can believe.
But it's the spirit of Christmas.
Yes.
And it's just amazing.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
100%. All right, I'm going to go into what I call my 2-minute warning questions. All right.
Okay.
If you listen to my, you gotta listen to my podcast.
One time.
One time. All right. And then make sure you make a comment on there on the Apple podcast. Anyway, is it more important who you know or what you know?
Wow.
That's a standard question on every podcast. You didn't listen all the way to
I think who you know is super, super important and special. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think so. You know, in your story as an example, I mean, it was who you know, and they knew you enough to see your potential. Mm-hmm. You know, that's okay. Obviously, the builder was already recruiting you over there. They saw, you know, what potential. And I think a lot of it, you know, people, you know, in your situation, you're presentable. You can have conversation with people, and I don't know you that well personally, but I would imagine they saw you were coachable, and that they could actually, because you were a sponge for knowledge, and would follow through with what they were doing, and it's just made your success. So who you know gave you what you know.
Exactly.
And then you're here today.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. You're out with your men, your young boys. Jaguars, Iceman, or a jumbo shrimp game?
Oh, Jaguars.
Yes.
Yes.
Were you at the game yesterday?
No, I missed it. I was working yesterday, but my son, my 3-year-old, he is the biggest Jaguars fan. It's the cutest thing in the entire world. We went, I don't know if you saw it on myself, but we went to the game, and even though he only wanted to sit in the seats for like 20 minutes,
right? I
toured that whole state. I could tell you everything about that Jaguars stadium, especially that there is a payphone on the 3rd level that he sat and played with for about 20 minutes. So, but yeah.
So you got the 2 young boys. You're doing well. Do you have something on your travel bucket list? Somewhere you want to take them?
Yeah. So something
besides Disney World.
Yes.
Besides that's given. We live in Florida.
We went to Disney. You know, actually, so my mom is I'm Lebanese and Italian. So my mom she was born in Jamaica. And so
Hold on a second. Italian, Lebanese, born in Jamaica.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
So funny. I know, so funny. But my mom's family is, you know, they're from Jamaica. So some of my best childhood memories were in Jamaica. Just my family has, you know, this cozy little place on the water, and
nice.
A little not an Airbnb, but a breakfast kind of
bed and breakfast thing. Yeah.
And so we're actually planning a trip this summer. So hopefully I want to make those same memories with my kids. Yeah.
I think it's so important. You know, of course, here in Florida, we're kind of spoiled because you were born in Miami, so flying from Miami to Jamaica is nothing. To learn other cultures, to learn other, and something we have many cultures here within the United States. Mm-hmm. You go around to different states and learn they do things differently there.
Yeah.
But to be able to visit Jamaica and see that, and obviously family related, just makes it even that much better.
Oh yeah, super excited! Can't wait.
But have you read Ryan Serhant?
I have not.
You have not read. So you haven't read either one of his books. Okay. So I have Sell It Like Serhant. I can't talk. My mouth is getting dry. Sell It Like Serhant, and then I have his newest book. Now, since you have not read any of his books yet, I would say go in order.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you Sell It Like Serhant as a gift for coming on today.
Thank you.
And then what we'll do, maybe in 6 or 8 months, have you come on and I'll give you Big Money Energy, and we'll get an update of what's going on with you.
I would love that.
Excellent.
That would be amazing.
Kelly, I appreciate you coming on today.
I appreciate you having me. This was so cool. Yes. First podcast ever.
Excellent. And many more.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.